welcome you back to the teleconferencing session. From the earlier session, we have been discussing the social psychological approach, and we have already dealt with the basic principles of the social psychological approach and discussed in brief about two important thinkers of the social psychological approach, that were MacGregor as well as Francis Likert. And we continued with the third one also, the third thinker, namely Abraham Maslow, who has widely contributed to the theory of human motivation in administrative organizations, and he in fact uses the social psychological approach in understanding the basis of human motivation, the basis of human behavior, the motives behind the human needs. And we have come up to the discussion where we say that Maslow in fact considers that human needs are very vital, and all human beings have not only one need, but they are prompted by several needs, and they want to satisfy these needs, and with the aim of satisfying these needs they join some organization, some institution, and work for that institution or work for that organization in order to fulfill their own needs, fulfill their own demands, fulfill their own requirements, and also their desires. And on the basis of this need being an important motivator, important determinant of motivator, Maslow in fact has laid down his hierarchy of needs theory. We discussed about three basic propositions also, which were in fact necessary for understanding the hierarchy of needs theory of Maslow. The basic propositions being that Maslow considers that human beings are wanting animals, they have number of wants and desires, and they join an organization and work towards that, work in the organization in order to fulfill the wants. The second important proposition, what Maslow said, was that there is a hierarchy of needs. Every individual worker in an organization places his needs in order of priority, in order of his importance of that particular need. So he arranges them in an ascending order, in a hierarchy, in a ladder kind style. Then the third important proposition, which is the basis of the hierarchy of needs theory of Maslow, is that a need that gets satisfied no longer remains to be a motivator, and therefore a man or a human being in the organization need to continually have several needs which remains to be satisfied, and so unsatisfied needs are only the motivators. A satisfied need stops short of being a motivator once it is satisfied. Here is where now we will discuss the hierarchy of needs theory of Maslow, the basis being need as a motivator. If we see the third slide shows hierarchy of needs theory of Maslow, where I said the individual in the organization places all his needs in a ladder, in a hierarchical form. If you see the various steps, the first step, the second step, the third step, the fourth step, and the fifth step, you can see that visually also, graphically also, one can in fact see a formation of a step like ladder, or a scale is there, where the beginning is with the first digit, then the second, the third, and so it goes up to the highest level. And Maslow places the needs of the human beings of the organization in this form of ladder, in this form of steps, or in this form of hierarchy, where in the beginning is the basic need, the physiological need. What is physiological need? Physiological need is the basic need pertaining to food, water, shelter, certain physical and biological needs also which a human being may be having. So the physiological need or the basic needs are the first order of needs, and these need to be fulfilled first. And so the organization or the manager of the organization should be perceptive of the fact that in case an individual is having a physiological need, that needs to be fulfilled first, and therefore Maslow places this need, the physiological need, at the first set of need. And in case if this physiological or the first set of needs is not satisfied, if the physiological needs or the basic needs remain unsatisfied, all other needs do not hold any kind of a motivation for the worker. All these other needs become redundant for him unless and until the physiological needs are to be satisfied. If these are satisfied, then only he will be prompted for the second higher set or second higher order of needs. So the physiological needs, the basic needs, have to be fulfilled to a certain degree, to a certain level, so that at least they are necessary to maintain life for the individual, and if these are satisfied, then he goes on to the next higher level of need, And that is what Maslow says the security needs or the safety needs. What does security and safety need mean? Safety and security need mean that once I get my basic needs satisfied, I've got my food, water and shelter, I've got my family with me, but at the same time I am not secure. I have a fear of losing my job. I have a fear to my life, or I may not be certain whether I'll be getting my food or a shelter or whatever physiological tomorrow in a assured manner. So if there is some kind of insecurity with me, then I may not be in fact satisfied, and I may not be prompted to go further in my levels of needs. I have to get these needs satisfied. The security needs, the safety needs. I want safe environment for me, secure environment for me and my family. My job should be secure, my income should be secure, my food, water and physiological needs should be secure. Once the security needs get satisfied, the safety needs get satisfied, he is prompted to go to the third need. From the security he travels to the affiliation need. And this travel or this going to the third higher level of need is not all of a sudden. It emerges gradually. He aspires for the third higher level need or any higher level of need in a gradual manner. It doesn't in fact come all of a sudden. So when we say the third higher level of need, that follows the physiological and security needs getting satisfied, the affiliation or the acceptance need. Affiliation or acceptance from whom? From my colleagues, from my peer group. I need to be accepted. I need to have a relationship with them, a good relationship with them, and I expect them also to have a good relationship with me. So reciprocity in relationship, acceptance by my peer group, by my neighbors, by my family friends are also very necessary. And if this need gets satisfied, I just go at a little higher level and I aspire for the esteem need, the self-esteem needs. Self-esteem means that my status, my power, my authority should be accepted by others, should be held in esteem by others. I should in fact be considered something very important by others, and it should give me some sort of esteem. And in the sense, it gives me certain satisfaction. Once my esteem needs are fulfilled, I get satisfaction. What kind of satisfactions I derive is basically of power, of social position, of prestige, as well as of recognition, achievement, etc. So self-esteem needs are also necessary, and they are at the fourth higher level or fourth higher set of orders in terms of priority. Then once the self-esteem needs get satisfied, he goes and tries to aspire for becoming self-actualized. What is self-actualization? According to Maslow, this is the highest level of need in the scale, in the hierarchy. And this is where a person tries to actualize his potentialities. He seeks for self-fulfillment. He wants to become more and more of what he is, or rather he wants to become everything of what he is capable of becoming. Rather, he tries to maximize his potential and uses it to accomplish something or some important purpose in his life. Let us go into the fourth slide now, and here is where you can show the fourth slide, please. The fourth slide rather shows the characteristics of self-actualized person. As per Maslow, when a person reaches to the highest level in the hierarchy of needs order, then the self-actualization person who seeks self-fulfillment or who has a desire to maximize his potentialities, to become something or to accomplish something, as what is the characteristics of a self-actualized person? If we go one by one, if we see, according to Maslow, a self-actualized person have a mission and purpose in life. They are motivated by a vision that gets translated into a mission, and that gets translated into a purpose of in life. They possess, the self-actualized person possess creativeness and originality. They lack overriding guilt and crippling shame and anxiety. Whatever they do, they have a confidence in doing it because they are creative, they are original, and they have a mission and a purpose in life. They have an unusual ability to detect spurious, fake, and dishonest in the personality. They like privacy, dignity, autonomy, and freedom to pursue their endeavors in life and work. That is what I say, they are very creative. Maslow said that they are very creative. They derive ecstasy, inspiration and strength from the basic experience of life. They learn from everyday work in the organization. They have a deep feeling of identification, sympathy and affection for mankind. They maintain interpersonal relationship with only a few people. And according to Maslow, the last not the least, they are democratic and they can differentiate between the ends and means, the right and the wrong. This is what he says in a nutshell, the characteristics of a self-actualized person. He moves further to even denote the characteristics of the human needs. All the needs, starting from physiological to that of security, to that of safety, to that of affiliation, to that of self-esteem and to that of self-actualization, he feels that all these needs also have an inbuilt characteristics. If we see the fifth slide, he has highlighted the characteristics of human needs. What are the characteristics? Please show the fifth slide. The characteristics of all the human needs according to Maslow is that the hierarchy is not rigid. It is rather very flexible. It is not a watertight compartment that one need should follow the other need then again the next higher level of need. It cannot in fact go out in a fixity. It cannot in fact be going on in a very rigid manner one after the other. A person may join the organization to get his physiological needs fulfilled, but the other person who joins the organization may join the organization with some other needs in mind, maybe because his physiological needs are already met. And he joins any organization with other needs in mind to fulfill his own other needs which may be other than the physiological needs. So different persons in the organization have different needs and not necessarily to be motivated in the same order as Maslow has given, to begin with the physiological and then the safety and then acceptance and so on. So there is no fixity in this hierarchy of needs, and the needs may not conform to the hierarchical order. The second thing is emergence of new set of needs not sudden. A person goes from physiological to the safety needs to the then again to the acceptance need in a very gradual manner. Not all of a sudden it comes into the mind that once my physiological needs are over, automatically I should from the next day aspire for the safety needs or go in for immediately for the acceptance needs once my safety needs are satisfied. The aspiration or going towards or moving or upward movement towards any need basically is a very gradual process. The third important characteristics of human needs is basic human needs are common to all. He goes with the proposition that whatever the physiological needs have to be fulfilled and they are common to all the employees or all the workers or all the human beings irrespective of the cultures as well as the societies they are a part of. And the most important of all the characteristics he says about the human needs is the fourth one. The human behavior is a reflection of diverse needs. This fourth one, he in fact gives focus on the human behavior. What he finds is that human goals, human needs, human behavior has something behind them. And what is that behind? These needs, as I said, Maslow in fact considers that a person is not motivated by one need, but he has several needs. And so these several needs have to be classified into a specific group, and that will become the basis of motivation theory. And rather what Professor Vayanandan had earlier said, that motivation is one of the determinants of human behavior. There are many other determinants of human behavior, but right now we are focusing on motivation as one of the determinants of human behavior, and all the human behavior, all the human goals have to be matched with the motivation. Rather, motivation has to be match with the human goals and needs. So that is why the human goals and needs have to be taken into consideration by the managers, so that according to the needs of the individuals, they can in fact approach the needs of the individuals to be fulfilled. How can a manager in fact be perceptive about it? By knowing the human goals and the human needs all workers in the organizations have, and approaching the needs of different individuals, different workers in the organization, and therefore using those needs of the individual workers as a motivator for them. So motivation has to be matched with the goals of the individuals, has to be matched with the human needs, and they have to be classified in a specific group, and that is where it becomes a basis for the formulation of a theory of motivation. So human behavior, as I said, the human behavior is a reflection of diverse needs. There are a number of needs the human behavior has, and the manager should be perceptive of this fact that basic needs have to be fulfilled, but basic need itself is not a single determinant of the fulfillment of other needs. Other needs have also to be fulfilled, and not just the basic needs. And basic needs itself cannot be determining the satisfaction of other needs. So other needs have also to be taken into consideration by the manager, so that a continuous system of motivation exists for the individual in the organization, and he keeps on working towards the organization's objectives. After all this contribution, we may just look into certain critical success gaps which Maslow's theory of hierarchy of needs face in the light of certain researchers who have conducted research on this hierarchical order of needs what Maslow has propounded. The first and the foremost criticism is regarding the dispute over the hierarchy of needs. Maslow said that all the needs are arranged in a hierarchy, arranged in terms of priority by the workers. But it may not, the needs of the individual may not rather conform to this hierarchical order. Research was conducted by two important researchers, that was Lawler and Suttle, and they rather studied 187 managers, and what they found out, or what the findings of their research was, that there are only two needs, irrespective of all the number of needs which Maslow discusses. There are only two vital needs, that is biological and the other needs, and biological needs need to be satisfied first. Unless and until the biological needs are satisfied, the worker will not be prompted for other needs. So there are only two vital needs. And again, what was in fact found out, that one person may join the organization with the aim of fulfilling his physiological need, but equally the other person joins the organization keeping in mind that he has self-actualization needs which are predominant for him, and he wants to fulfill the self-actualized, or rather he wants to become self-actualized person, and with that aim he joins that organization. So different people join the organization with different needs in mind, and may not necessarily go in the order as what Maslow dictated, or rather said that everything has to begin from the physiological. No doubt basic needs have to be fulfilled, but the order in which the higher level of needs are placed in the hierarchy may not be according to the people who join the organization. People may have diverse needs, and they approach or join an organization keeping diverse needs fulfillment, not necessarily of the order that is given by Maslow. The second criticism, if we see, is the lack of research support. Lack of research support in the sense, he did not rather elaborate the methodology he was using in picking up the cases when he was trying to give us the characteristics of self-actualized person. On what basis he chose the sample was not elaborated by him. Even the research data what he was using was not validated, what rather was not even polished, was not even sophisticated for that matter. And therefore, whatever he gave us the characteristics of the self-actualized person was lacking research evidence, was inadequate in terms of evidence. And as some researchers point out, that for example Coffer and Apply point out that the concept of Maslow has used is very vague, and rather he has a looseness in the language, and also there is inadequate evidence to give a basis or to substantiate his contentions of a self-actualized persons. So in all, these three vital criticisms have been levied towards Maslow's hierarchical needs theory, and also his description of the self-actualized person, the characteristics of the self-actualized persons, which most of the researchers later on felt was very imprecise in nature. So but in any case, what has been the most significant of Maslow is that he created a landmark in the field of human motivation and helped or contributed much towards the practice of modern management. Rather, with his identification of the human needs, it became easier for the managers to approach the needs of the individual workers based on their wants and on their personality and on their requirements. I think now, after Maslow, we will be taking up the contribution of Friedrich Herzberg towards human motivation, and I request Professor Vayanandan to initiate the discussion with Friedrich Herzberg.
Thank you, Dolly. I think you have very clearly in depth talked about the Maslow hierarchy of needs, and you have very elaborately also concluded about various aspects, implications, and the limitations of his needs hierarchy theory. Then other in the line for this motivational theories, we come across another thinker, that is the Friedrich Herzberg. He is highly influenced by Maslow and McGregor, and basically what we understand, even in earlier case when we try to discuss that Dolly was speaking, that need, we have to identify what need motivates a person. I think if you recollect even Herbert Chester Bernard, when he talks about contribution, satisfaction, equilibrium, where he says that a person who contributes in return should get satisfaction, that way the equilibrium can be sustained. If not, the person will leave the organization or may stay in the organization but may not be able to contribute. So, but who should identify what gives him a satisfaction? What? So there are motives and incentives which he propounded. So it is the duty of the leader or the executive to find out what point of time, at what point of time, what need will motivate the person or satisfy the person. So he also was very much clear that the economic need will not be always motivating. So I think further, I think Maslow went into deep, not only microly, he went to macroly. Macro, what we understand when he says social needs, social needs does not mean within, but also danger from physical danger.
Universal.
Universal. Somewhere there was a given example in one of the scholars saying that in security or social, security needs. He said that in Indian tradition, culture, I have to quote. He says having a male child is a security need, fulfilling the security need. So it may not be pertaining to the organization itself, but he has looked in the holistic manner.
Universal application.
Universal application. So coming to the again Friedrich Herzberg, and because why I am taking macro, because the way Maslow tried to look the need from the very extensive point of view, but Herzberg was mostly within micro, where within the organization. Maybe whether he is talking about environmental factors or motivational factors. So as I said, Herzberg was highly motivated. When we are talking about motivation, he was highly motivated, I think, by the Maslow and McGregor. Basically, he was and his team was more interested in finding out the relationship between the meaningful experience at work, work and mental health. So I think he, in the process, they thought that there are two sets of, needs for an individual. One is to avoid pain, and other is to grow psychologically. What exactly? So that is where I think his motivation and hygienic theories came or propounded out of his studies. Basically, his theory, which he propounded, came out from the survey or studies which he has conducted on the about 200 accountants and engineers in USA, and basically his study resolved on two issues, whereas you have seen first thing Maslow says human being is satisfaction seeking animal, then need derives motivation to fulfill the need.
He is motivated.
But here he tries to understand that his study revolves on two issues, that identifying the events which led to result in what you call improvement in the individual's job satisfaction, and conversely events that led to marked reduction in the job job dissatisfaction. So here he tried to come out, and here I think he tried to segregate or have some sort of a dichotomy between the what you call the two kinds of needs. What one he needs, he says, is hygienic needs, or other is the motivational needs. When we say hygienic, which is been borrowed from a medical terminology, it is mostly preventive, and you have to create an atmosphere where the person can perform anything. Hygienic conditions, we say there should be hygienic conditions, or another way we say preventive. It try to prevent. So in this what he understands that the management could not identify or segregate these kind of needs into two categories, and they try to apply in a one manner of motivation where they could not motivate to an extent number of people in the job. So in the process, whatever studies he conducted, I mean that too on accounts and engineers. So when I am saying account and engineer, they are white collar jobs, where Maslow does not looked into all these things. He said simply, these
all
are human beings. He said all human beings, and very macroly, extensively.
Yes.
So when he tried to, I mean, then he asked, I mean, the survey, he said there are two important things which you want. What do you like the most about your work, or what do you dislike most about the work, or what events led to satisfaction, what events led to dissatisfaction. So in that process, he comes out with what is called two factors theory, and one way it is called hygienic and motivational factors or motivational theory. So so he when he tried to analyze his studies which he has performed on the research or survey on the groups of people which he was doing study, he found out there are certain factors which are not present, it will lead to dissatisfaction, and if they are present, it will lead to no dissatisfaction. And they one way, I mean, they are must for motivation. That is, and what is, I mean, these he termed them as hygienic factors. The other factors he tried to find out, they are, if they are there, they motivate him to perform his job, and which leads to satisfaction. If they are not there, it will lead to no dissatisfaction, not satisfaction, not dissatisfaction. So again, I will try to elaborate. When he tried to, interpret his survey or study which he has conducted on the 200 accounts. So there are sets of, needs which, if they are provided, it leads to no dissatisfaction. And if they are not provided, they lead to dissatisfaction. There are other sets of needs which are provided that leads to satisfaction. If they are not provided, no satisfaction. But in a traditional continuum, if you take a scale, if there is no satisfaction, it leads to dissatisfaction. If dissatisfaction is fulfilled, then it leads to satisfaction. But here, it is not a symmetrical kind of a, he has two, parallels. There is satisfaction, no satisfaction, dissatisfaction, no dissatisfaction. So in this process, what we try to understand is that, so one is job context, that is environment. One is job content, that is within the job, that is motivational, this is hygienic. So this is what I think the management could not look into it, and they try to apply within, look both in a mixed form, which did not really lead to motivation.
One is job content, that is a motivator, and the hygiene factor is job
context. That is the environment. So this is what I think he tried to. Then other way is a maintenance. Hygienic factors are also called maintenance. Whereas the motivators are called satisfiers. So so what exactly he tried to look into it? As I said, one way no dissatisfaction and satisfaction, other way dissatisfaction and no dissatisfaction. And this is what I think we find, and he tried to analyze then what are the factors which lead to no dissatisfaction. I think the one is the company policy and administration. Policy and administration. Second, relation with the supervisor. Third, working conditions. Fourth, salary. Next, relation with the peers, personal life, relation with the subordinates, status, security and supervision. These are the factors which are hygienic factors. So if they are not provided, they lead to no dissatisfaction. If they are provided, they provide. It will not. What we understand, provided, they lead to no dissatisfaction. If not provided, it lead to dissatisfaction. Then what are the motivational factors? He says achievement, recognition, work itself, responsibility, advance and growth. So these are the factors which one way we
Motivate.
call job enrichment. One way we call them job enrichment. The person should be provided with a job, not vertically loading more and more functions. The job should be providing more innovative, more advancement, more recognition, more work itself, more responsibility, more growth. So that is what really motivates a person, not simply the salary, not the policy, not the, what is called personal status, security. They all should be preventive, they should be present, but in the sense they are maintenance. But the real motivating factors is job, one way he calls them job enrichment. What is job enrichment? The person should have a kind of motivation, a kind of urge, a kind of initiative, a kind of what you call innovative, which I think achievement, recognition, work itself, responsibility, advance and growth. So this is what he tried to understand, and that way, other way if you would like to see it, the maintenance factors are mostly at the Maslow point of view, they are lower level needs.
Low level needs.
And if you take the other factors like the maintenance, motivating factors, they are higher level needs.
But one thing, Professor Vayudandan, the hygiene factor as well as the motivating factors, hygiene factors are not the motivating ones.
No, they are not motivating.
But without the salary, how person is getting motivated
That is what,
to work
see,
in
that
the
is,
organization?
that is what we first now come to that point. You are very real. See, when you generally look, at times the pay will motivate me.
Yeah.
At times the pay may not, but that it cannot be hygienic. So
Maybe
what we understand, is, you see the sample, you see the persons which he has done survey. Who are the persons? Accountants and engineers. And accountant and engineer, they are all highly satisfied because they pay the company policy, their status, their security, their supervisor.
All ensured.
Ensured. So they are now to the
Higher level.
high level. They want more of what you call some sort of a job enrichment. So they have already achieved what they, so if you take the sample or the people which he has surveyed, so naturally they pay because they
For
are
them the
professionals.
physiological needs
Yes,
doesn't matter.
they are professionals.
Professionals.
They are professional. Already they have everything what they need, what we understand from Maslow, the lower level needs.
The
So they are not,
self-actualization,
high level.
yeah.
So that is what we try to understand about the Maslow. Maslow, what the random or what you call sample, not random, sampling. So that naturally, and it is also one way someone said it is more towards a developed society rather than a developing society. So in a developing society it may not. Again within industries also you have a level of workers. So that is what to be
this
looked.
may
But
not apply to a lower level worker.
No, never. Because lower worker,
Worker for him, the motivating factor is salary, rules, regulations, there are must.
Yes, but sometimes even the white collar person also may be motivated by pay at the company policy and administration. But what he finds that, he tries to, segregate what he understands that these are the factors which are maintaining factors,
which maintain and retain the personnel in the
on the
organization.
maintenance only you get
can build the
motivational factors. So, and that is what we understand, and what we understand is that no doubt when we try to look at, so there are, some has, what we try to look at, the real contribution of the Maslow, Hertzberg is, maybe he was into the, class of workers who are more who want to have some sort of a job, what you call enrichment. They are looking for which is a motivating factor for them. So in that context, I think this can be rightly or maybe applied or rightly maybe said, because you cannot say that he has just come, it is a survey he has done. So what we understand is that no doubt if you take one side Maslow, other side Hertzberg. So in one way, if you take in good sense, as you said, that the lower level needs represent the maintenance,
hygiene,
and the higher level needs the other thing. So if you really look into that, if at all you look from the very analytical and critical angle, you see it's a segregation may apply to the white collar who are already achieved everything, whatever, I mean, they want, whatever perks and everything. Now they want looking for some sort of an advancement.
But not necessary. Not necessary. A higher level manager may still have his
Yeah,
basic
that is what
needs to be
I mean,
fulfilled.
that is what I was
May
also
still
saying.
has the
Yeah.
physiological needs
See,
to be fulfilled, and that still remains to be a motivator for him, maybe even if it is a basic need.
Yeah.
Maybe
So,
even if it is an affiliation.
but still, there may be a possibility of having this kind of, I mean, I'm not saying that it is, I mean, complete that every time this hygienic and motivational factors is being, but you are very right that, I mean, as I said, I mean, at times pay me or company policy or my status also try to motivate me. So, but what he understands is that this is what, I mean, he feels according to his survey, according to his findings, that there are certain needs which are to be segregated. So, in segregation you will be clear where what things will motivate, what things will satisfy, or what things will have dissatisfaction, or what things will be preventive. So, this is what he has in his analysis came out. But the criticism what we understand is that when we take the criticism, that first thing is that it talks only about the white collar. It may, I am not saying it is complete, as you are rightly said, sometimes the white collar person also.
Yeah.
So, it may apply to, it will, because he has done survey on white collar, it may apply to white collar job or professional job holders. It may. And other is that I think nothing will come like a maintenance, or nothing comes like a motivation. See, it is like, as you have said, I mean, the needs are biological, social, culture, and I mean, it all, I mean, depends upon the influence. Situational. It influences. So, that is what I think has to be looked, and no doubt he also tried to, I mean, as Maslow has tried to explain the various needs which tries to motivate the people, he also tries to come out with certain aspects of needs which he tried to segregate, like maintenance and motivational. So, this is what we try to understand. I think if you try to compare, I think
we can compare that also to what you have already said. Universal application by Maslow is possible of his needs.
One, you can say that Maslow is more descriptive, because he tried to provide each and every need and try to explain what need psychological, physiological or social, or I mean, what you call
no,
security.
he feels descriptive in the sense like he feels that all needs are motivators.
Yes, yes.
It is hardly whether it is a lower level need or a higher level need. Only all the needs need to be fulfilled. Then only they can, the person
so
can
one
be
way
really working
people
for
look
the organization.
more, it's very descriptive in this sense, Maslow, whereas they feel that Hertzberg is more prescriptive.
Okay, he prescribes.
He prescribes. And he does not describe like Maslow. Maslow has described. He talked, I mean, right to the man is a satisfaction seeking animal. Man
is a wanting animal.
That way he describes. But here he simply says these are the prescriptions, these are the maintenance, these are the motives. So very prescriptive. So more descriptive, more prescriptive. And other what we need is this, what we understand, there is a hierarchy of needs in Maslow. I mean, whether he disputed after the, I mean, but he has put certain hierarchy.
He himself has recognized that the need may be different, varying between person
but
to
still
person.
He propounded his theory based on hierarchy of needs. Whereas that kind of hierarchy is not we found in
Friedrich
Hertzberg. Then other is that one thing is what we understand is that once a need is been fulfilled, no longer that need
is
motivator in a Maslow. But later what we understand is that what we understand in Maslow is the satisfying needing is a what we call the motivator, except hygienic factors which are not motivators. I mean, hygienic factors are only preventive. Then another, which we come is, any need is a motivator if it is not satisfied for Maslow. Any need is a motivator, it is satisfied. But for a Hertzberg, it is always higher level needs. That is what
to be satisfied.
Then another important is that I think Maslow took a macro view of the what you call the, we deals with all aspects of existence, whether you say social needs, whether he talks about affiliation needs, whether he talks about self-actualization. He does not look only from the point of organization, but you should,
So
when
all
he
human beings
yes, he
are
said love
organisms.
needs, affiliation. I mean, he
Needs.
says, I mean, physical danger.
Danger,
Not
yeah,
only
yeah.
within
Yeah, yeah.
security, he talks about company salary protection, but again
even
physical
needs to his
danger.
own life,
Yeah,
yes.
that is what we try to understand about the Maslow. So, I mean, he tries to have his view.
All his needs are universal in their application
and
pertaining to the
existence.
human beings
Human
in the
existence.
world. Yes.
Whereas I think it, if you take Husberg, it's very macro view. Basically deals with the
micro view.
micro view,
Micro view.
basically related to the what
Within
you call
the organization.
within the organization, only the motivational problems.
Exactly.
So that is what. And whereas Maslow needs are related to it can be applicable to all categories of employees.
Lower level,
Or
middle
higher.
level, higher level.
But whereas I think this needs, I mean, of
Only for the higher level.
only for
High level
collar,
managers.
what we call white collar or
Jobs.
professional
Jobs.
So this is what we, so whatever may be, so once you try to sum up, so see, what we understand, any theory I mean cannot take every aspect of of organization. Every theory has its own limitations, own contributions. So that is what in public administration we feel, that every theory or every approach or every paradigm try to reflect to the need of a particular aspect of organization, and try to what we understand, try to come out how to resolve and how to, or try to describe that what this is what.
But I think, Dr. Vainandan, that instead of differences between the two, I would say there's more of a similarity.
Yes.
How the similarity is there? Because the way of perceiving or the
Yes.
perception matters. For instance, Maslow's perception as well as Friedrich's perceptions is a little different,
Yes.
but they are seeing the same thing.
Yes.
As Maslow saw that needs are motivators,
Yes.
whether it is at the lower level need or the
at the
higher
higher
level
level.
need or a middle level need, they all are motivators for all human beings, irrespective whether he is a blue collared job person,
Or a
it is a
white-
white collared job person,
or a
is a
professional.
lower level person or
Or
a
a
higher
professional.
level person, whatever professional or whatever you can call. But for him, the needs are all motivators, and these needs need to be fulfilled and satisfied by the managers in the organization or by the organization itself, so that then the worker is induced to contribute towards the attainment of organization's objectives.
Yes, very
But Herzberg also sees the same thing of human motivation. Only the thing is that he finds the status as being a maintenance need, as a hygiene factor, and equally the status which Maslow in fact considers as a self-esteem factor is in fact seen by Herzberg as a hygiene factor, as a maintenance factor, whereas Maslow considered status as a higher level
High
need,
level needs.
as a motivating factor. But Herzberg sees only it as a maintenance factor, as a hygiene factor to retain a person in the organization. But equally the other needs in the self-esteem category,
Yeah.
status
Yeah, yeah.
of course is motivating, achievement, recognition, all falls into the motivating factors by Herzberg.
Yes.
So the same need of Maslow, which he finds is a higher level need, is divided into two by Herzberg.
Yeah.
He finds status which falls under the self-esteem needs of Maslow comes under the motivating factors, and the other, that is achievement, recognition, power, pelf, etc., falls into the motivating factors. So I feel hardly there is any difference. Only the way they have
So
seen,
one way you can
only
say,
they have perceived is different.
what we understand is that Maslow tried to describe, give total description of needs.
Yes.
And maybe this
Interpretation is only different, I feel.
He tried to give some sort
Yes.
of prescription to that. So
Yes.
as you rightly said,
Yes.
some part of his needs are lower needs, some parts of his needs are high level needs.
need.
And within the high, some part is related to
Exactly.
high.
But
So
both
that is
have
what,
dealt with the human motivation theory
Yeah.
in a very, very significant
Yes,
manner,
yes,
and
yes.
had created some kind of a breakthrough
That
in
is
the
what,
field
as
of
I
human
said, the
motivation.
existence.
Yes.
He totally looked from the human existence
Exactly.
and tried to understand the need from the point of organization and from the point of the outside environment, where, because as you said, he is the first person who tried to look into the from the psychoanalysis,
Socio-psychological
analysis.
approach.
So
Analyzing
because
human
after all,
behavior.
because this is what the public administration, because public administration is not only a process, but it is also related to the outside environment. So people within, there are human beings, people outside, there are human beings. So that is what we try to understand. So that is where the problem of public administration comes up, because unlike others, like where you have a sociology only, society, psychology only, behavior of person, history, something historical aspects. So because public administration, as rightly said by Paul Appleby, that it touches whatever exists and moves in the society.
Yeah.
So in that process, the public administrator should have the wisdom of all anthropologists, psychologists, sociologists,
Socio-psychology, everything.
all management, economics, farmer, laborer, management and all that. So this has its own importance. So here it tries to reflect of the socio-psychological aspects of human beings. That is what it is.
Thank you.